Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Healing from Within with me, your host, Keryn Rose. And I do love saying that. And I have a gorgeous friend that is actually currently in KL. Her name is Wendy Corner, and she's all about communicating. Hi there, Miss Wendy.
Hello, Keryn. So good to be on your show.
Oh, look, it's very nice to have you. I get so excited when I get a real person to talk with when I'm on creating my episodes. It is fun. So look, thank you very much for giving of your time to come and share with me and the wonderful listeners. What is your take? What is your perspective on the phrase healing from within? And how do you incorporate it into your daily life?
Oh, that is an excellent question. Healing from within for me, you mentioned right in the introduction about the importance of communication. I feel that we're very often expected in the general conditioning of life that healing comes from outside, that it is something that people do to us, the doctors do to us, and that's the way they'd really rather like to keep it, because there's that power element. But actually, the power is within us. And if we give our power away and say, I believe you, doctor, I'm not going to question you, and I trust that this little pill that you're going to give me is going to miraculously heal me, then I feel that we're giving our power away, and we're expecting everything to come from the outside in. You and I both work on that energy frequency thing, for want of a better way of describing it. And we both know that our thoughts carry a frequency, they carry an energy. And when I've been working physically with a body, as in the myofascial work that I do, one of the first questions I ask the person is, do you believe you can heal? And they go, well, I don't know. I said, well, if you don't, then it ain't going to happen. Was it as Henry Ford once said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So that having that sense of, yes, I do believe I can heal is really important for me as a body worker, because I keep saying to the person, it's lovely when you get testimonials that you've got healing hands and all that. I keep saying, no, I'm actually literally holding space for your body to heal underneath me. And as I'm working from the physical perspective, I'm also tuning into the energy, which is why when I do it remotely, I can still do that. That's part of the work that I do, because you and I have that overlap in terms of the energetic body healing. The other work that I do in terms of working with speakers for performance is so definitely centered around what we tell ourselves and those internal scripts, as I call them. Because if we say to ourselves some unresourceful stuff, then we're not going to experience the joy, which again is one of your lovely buzz phrases, the joy that we have potentially all around us. And that is up to us. It's not an outside job, it's an inside job.
I love that. And that sums it up so well, that healing is not an outside job, it's an inside job. Now, what is it about life that takes us down this path of giving away, for want of a better term, giving away our power? I do not believe, I'll be positive, I believe we come in from a space that is pure love. Mm-hmm. And it is our heart that really runs the show, because, as a newborn babe, they have not yet to experience any formal education, any formal, I can be a little bit poke the bear and say programming and conditioning, but it's that formalized learning. Let's use that terminology. It's, little kids, and I love saying kids have this idea that everything's a feel. I don't feel tired. I don't feel like wearing that. I don't feel like sharing. Everything is a feel. And I do not believe that the children are taught to use this word feel. It is an innate, it shows their innate world. It's all about the feels. Until they are taught or shown, and let's be honest, as a species that we learn from observation as well. We are taught to think. And, how many times are we told in the education system, think about it, think about what you're doing, think. At what point does this giving away of our power start to occur? And what does it take to reconnect back to, oh my God, I can do this? What's your share on that?
Okay, well, we could get a bit technical here. When we are born, we are working on theta brainwaves. And these theta brainwaves are open to everything. That's the deep sleep state that we get in. And if you think about it, teeny tiny babies do nothing but eat, sleep, and pee and poo. 2 to 3 months in, they start developing the beta waves, the ones that are a little bit more interested. They start getting alert. And that's when they start to do the observation stuff. Later on, they get the alpha things. And then gradually they go through all the different, developing the different brainwaves. When you get to, I may have got that round the wrong way, actually, that alpha comes first and then beta. Okay. Let's just say that we go through a different, we progress. When we hit around 6 or 7 and up to around 7, we are still in major sponge mode. We are taking in everything that we're told and shown and conditioned and trained. And then around the age of 7, we develop that critical faculty, or bullshit meter, as I call it. That time when you as a child sit back and go, yeah, I actually believe in that. That's kind of when the Santa thing kicks in. And they start questioning, really? Because at that point, they start looking critically. They start thinking critically. That said, we are still programmed to take on what we've already learnt. We don't unlearn it. And in fact, the learning, the thinking has to go in deeper and deeper, because we are trained in the education system, in my opinion, still to be good little factory workers.
It's interesting that, and I'm really hoping that the shift in learning, education, I will choose to use the word learning. It has more openness in energy. This idea of learning is a playground in which you're trying things out.
Yes.
Trying things out. Now, at school, I was taught you can't divide by 0. I was taught that there are 52 weeks in the year and there are 7 days in a week. I married a beautiful man that corrected me very early on to say, well, what base are you working in? I looked at him and said, what do you mean? And he said, well, yes, you can divide by 0. He'd done maths at uni, and suddenly I thought, no, hang on. I was told there are 52 weeks. Each week has, and he's going, it's not like that. And suddenly I realized, oh my goodness, there's another way. I was taught spelling. And if you didn't spell the way that I was taught, it was wrong. But in actual fact, no. Other countries can spell the word I'm spelling in a different way. and it's still right. Suddenly, this awareness of there are other ways of doing it opened up. And then it was my journey to accept, yes, I questioned my whole life, but I really seriously started to question and had to own the fact that I was putting people off. And therein for me was another learning of, yeah, okay, I'm here to please people. Suddenly I'm not pleasing people, but that includes me. And suddenly I'm being challenged to go, who's the more important person here, Keryn? Okay. It's an amazing thing. You and I grew up in an era where doctors were on a pedestal, along with parents, along with the
Teachers.
preacher that stood behind the pulpit, the teacher. I referred to people that were of my parents' vintage, Mr. and Mrs. That was respect until they gave me permission to do something else. And it was just, oh my goodness, these rules and regs that unbeknownst to us leech power from us. And this ability to heal from within is innate within us. And it's not a physical thing. It is that energetic thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, are there times when it is helpful to have some outside help to get you there quicker? Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Both of us have experienced life-saving surgery. Now, without that, neither of us are likely to have been sitting here talking today. But the point is, an awful lot of what we go to the doctor with, chances are we could do it ourselves if we believed and were open to listening to what's coming from within.
So how would you suggest to our gorgeous listeners to connect with that? I call it a knowing. How do we connect with our ability? Okay, let me put that around it. How do you connect with your ability to heal from within?
Okay. It actually takes a bit of a process for me, because my conscious mind, my monkey mind, likes to be in charge and is constantly going, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? When I did my NLP practitioner training, monkey mind was at the fore. When we were doing the hypnosis bit, I was looking at this going, oh, it's going. My tutor actually said, would you like to take your conscious mind and put it on the chair next to you, please? We actually have a chair next to me. And the conscious mind was left there. And you're all right there for a little bit while. Just that's fine. Just carry on. You're safe. Until we could access my unconscious mind. So for me, there is getting in touch requires thank you. That critique, that critical voice, the one that goes, what the? Huh? You can go, yeah, thank you. I've heard you. But actually, I'm not going to listen to you today. I want to know what's going on deeper. Now, I know some people use meditation to access that. I tend to use prayer from a different direction. You can do guided meditations. The thing that you showed me, that wonderful example in the tea shop, was the sway test. And would you like me to explain that to the listeners?
Please do, yes.
Okay. Well, listeners, if you could imagine this, we're in this wonderful tea shop, and there are floor-to-ceiling tea samples that look like test tubes. Keryn handed me one very carefully, covering up the label with no preamble, said, hold on to this, hold it next to your chest and breathe in. I nearly fell over backwards. And I'm going, WTF, what just happened? And then she handed me another one, again, carefully positioned so that I could not see the label. Hold it to your chest, breathe in. And I took a step forward. And I'm going, okay, what just happened? Because my conscious mind was certainly doing WTFs all over the place. And you then showed me the labels. Now, you know from what our previous conversation was that my body rejects black tea and likes green tea. you first gave me a phial of black tea, and my body agreed with what my mind had said. And yes, you were right. My body was going, I do not want this, and was trying to distance itself physically from the actual source of the stimulation. When it came to the green tea, my body walked forward to embrace it. So that sway test, I've shown a lot of people about that now, and how powerful it can be. And initially they're kind of a bit skeptical. However, the more we try it, the more they get the idea of it. So I tend to use that, or even the kinesiology finger lock thing. I appreciate your listeners can't see this.
Muscle testing.
Muscle testing, thank you. The muscle testing idea. So obviously the sway is not always appropriate. Say if you're on a bus or something, or if you're standing in a supermarket, it may not be appropriate to do the breathing job. But then the muscle testing is something that is a bit more subtle. Okay, that's a really helpful thing to do. There are also, we were talking about the importance of understanding that everything is still within. I know some students, children who are taught how to just tune in to the fact that they do know all the answers to a test and open up to the unconscious and be just still in the moment. And what's the answer to this? Not with the nerves, just asking the unconscious. And very often you can feel the answer coming to the surface. It's a bit of a long-winded way of saying it, but have I answered your question?
You have. Actually, you have reminded me when I was at uni and, I had doing my music studies. So we were doing a lot of oral work. And even I can remember sitting for the scholarship test back in grade 6. So I would have been, I don't know, 10 or 11. You were doing oral work. And actually, having said that, I've been doing music exams my whole life. What's this interval? If I didn't question the answer that came in, I would get it right. As soon as I questioned, I'd get it wrong. And do you think I would learn? Because an answer would come in and then I'd question it in my head. All this is happening in my head. But immediately, the distance between the two notes, the answer was in my head. And when I questioned it, I got it wrong. And every time I got it wrong, I would say to myself, you knew the first one was right. And yet I would still question. That ability to trust in ourselves is priceless. If we were, and I mean, yes, we're part of the animal kingdom, but with that differentiation of having this ability to override, instinct, where for us it's intuition. Animals out in the wild do not question. They are guided by, and I'm going to use what they're feeling. They are guided by this energetic, this is what you need to do now. This is what you need to do now. The birds that head south for the winter.
Migrations, yes.
Just, and when the scientists can explain how they know where they're going, any animal that migrates, they simply do it. Let's be honest, when a human being is conceived, it just, the cells do their little bit, off they go, and statistically speaking, the bulk come out as what we would call a perfect creation. And we've had nothing to do with it.
No.
It is this information that is programmed. And if that is how we're created, why do we think why question our ability to know what's going on? Every little cell that was divided did not argue and say, I don't want to be a toe, I want to be the brain. Cells just know, in inverted commas, what they're going to be. It's that programming that is innate. It's that divine stuff. And yet, we go to the doctor because we've got a headache and, we'd like some pills, please. I love associating the word trauma with Western medicine. For me, it gives a space for Western medicine. So when my son had his open heart surgery, absolutely. Didn't matter how much healing I did on him, there was a physical issue internally that needed his little chest to be cracked open. And that, interestingly enough, it was literally a piece of dacron. A little piece of material was sewn over the hole, and that's what his skin, my mother used to sew with dacron. Just my mind was blown away by a little piece of material. However, he's still alive, all 6'2" of him, and loving life.
Yeah.
But it's that innate knowing, and we are asked to trust, aren't we?
Yes.
Trust that it's there. Trust we can do it. And no offense to the doctors, no offense to the ministers, no offense to the teachers, no offense to the parents. We are here to question. We need something to reckon from. We need that base as a start. And then at some point you go, hang on, I'm not comfortable. I can remember questioning my father literally all the time. But as a teenager, I'd be at him with my conversation. And his belief was, you don't do that. Not only do you not do it at the table, you don't question me because I'm the father. I'm the father. I'm the head of the house. Look at where I'm sitting at the table. And he was serious. He was very, very serious. As a teenager, I didn't get that. But again, this energy that would interact, I'm open to questions. I happily have my teenage children ask me anything.
When I was first employed here in Australia, I kept asking questions. Why are we doing this? Because I'd lived and grown and developed as a speech pathologist in the same dear old Leviathan called the National Health Service in the UK. So moving over to Australia, I kept saying, well, I'm sorry, why are we doing this? Is this an Australian thing? Is this company's thing? I'm seriously curious. But because I kept asking, and I wasn't getting any answers, frankly, but I kept saying, look, I'm not trying to be awkward. I'm simply trying to understand.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was asking.
Challenging.
I was.
For some people, to be asked a question is questioning their own, for some people, their existence.
Yes.
Excuse me, do you know who I am? And you go, yeah, okay. I get it now. And I just go, all right, that's fine. That's cool. And I send them lots of love and off I go. Because in every situation, if you're not feeling comfortable, hopefully it is safe for you to leave. And you just go, this is not for me. I'm out of here. Thank you very much. Healing isn't necessarily only when you're sick from a physical perspective.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's that when you're feeling good, your energy is vibing. When you're not feeling good, whatever good means to you, and it's a term I will use and I know what it means for me, as opposed to feeling joyous. If one's feeling good, you're in the flow, you're feeling it, wonderful. When you're not, okay, something is out of whack, something ain't quite flowing, and that ability to shift that to me in my language is healing.
Yes.
You're moving back into the good stuff.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Because and picking up on that, anytime there's a change in circumstances, whether it be a quotes positive or negative, whenever there's a change, there's also a loss. And then there's almost a grief process. So take a wonderfully positive thing like becoming a mother. That's a major change in life.
Yep.
And you're losing the fact that you can get off and do anything you like anytime you like.
You've lost that freedom of an individual.
Yes. Yeah. You're now suddenly responsible for this little life. So there's a grief albeit attached to a very happy situation. So there's that little extra element to the healing that I would throw in there as a little adjunct to you're out of flow. So now how are you going to get back into a different flow? Because it's different to what it was before, but that's not to say that you're not going to be in a different flow and still flowing. Are you with me?
Oh, look, absolutely. And I'm glad that my gorgeous little brain doesn't engage with such detail. All right. And this is, one of the things I love about you is, your brain really does love the intricacies and the details and a need to know. Some would describe me as a little bit naive. And as I was growing up, I was referred to as, she's just so innocent, she wouldn't know what's going on. There's such an acceptance within me of if it feels good, cool. And I don't necessarily go searching for the why. I just know it feels good. And
that's my monkey mind, the one that I put on this chair next to me.
Yeah, look, I love that. And I used to have so much fun playing in the orchestra. I struggled to play next to somebody that was not playing in tune. I was in the strings and I'd just go, I'd jump from foot to foot to foot because it wasn't right. But it's a case of, sort that, fix that, in tune, resonance comes together. The harmonics just fill the sound, and it's what happens within us when we are in tune with what is going on.
Yeah.
I am not conscious of what I may have missed out on. I'm in the moment, in that flow, and that resonance of that unctuousness is just
there's
fun.
A good word.
It's a real full and just yes. I love that word, and it just seems so appropriate. It's that ability to untangle healing with medical, and that healing. What does healing mean? That can throw some people. Could go, oh well, I'm not sick, and so many people, if there's nothing physical, they're not sick. And I go, well, hang on, how do you feel? See, honestly, how do you feel? How does your head feel? How does your heart feel? How does your body feel? That talks to us. And it's a very, very powerful word. And what I hear from you is you believe it absolutely is something that we have within us and that we can literally mine to be able to enjoy all the jewels that are there.
Absolutely. And as we've said, you have to get past the conditioning. You're obviously naturally more of a kinesthetic person. You're naturally a feely person.
I am.
I am a kinesthetic person who has trained herself or been trained to be more of a thinker. So I am in the process of learning to reconnect deeper with my kinesthetic side. And I'm learning also when I'm explaining things, I'm checking in with the language. I'm checking in whether I'm thinking or whether I'm feeling.
Indeed. I'm sure I have shared with you the question of what do I think and how do I feel when you're asking the question. Again, so many people are not aware that put think into a word, and often there's a should in there, and everything is coming from the brain.
Yes.
Whether you want it to or not, there is this, let's use the word program, that if we think the answers come from here, this is old news, it simply records everything. So anything coming from there literally is old news. Whereas what you feel is accessing almost the quantum field.
Yes.
Because you are accessing everything that has been, everything that will be. It's just that everythingness. And sometimes it's hard to put into words.
And if we can't put it into words, the cognitive mind goes, well, that can't be right then.
It's a language. I will
Mm.
often say to my clients, the work we're doing today has nothing to do with that gorgeous brain of yours. We are speaking a language your brain cannot begin to comprehend. So don't feel upset if you're not getting it, because you're using the wrong part. You know, it's just have a holiday, sit in the corner, read a good book whilst we engage with, you know, this little part.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Wendy, it's been so beautiful having a chat with you. I'm going to ask you one last question.
Sure.
I would like you to make or to offer one action that our listeners can intend to undertake, to go out and give a go as to reconnecting with themselves on that deeper level. What would be one thing you would suggest?
What I was saying earlier on, check your language. Are you completely in thinky mode? Or are you feeling the answers? If you're all the time, your immediate response is, well, I think. Go, okay, let's ask about the feeling here, so that you can take it at both levels. And if it comes up with a different answer, that's okay.
I would actually expect a different answer. Dare I be so bold to use the word expect?
Yeah.
Because you're accessing a different database.
Yes.
And that our brain serves a purpose, as does our heart. And it's simply a case of, well, it's like going and asking mum her response, dad his response. You're going to get two different responses.
Yes.
They're both part of your world. And you're going, okay, I've heard you, dad. Yeah, I've heard you, mum. And heaven, but I get to, throw them all in the bowl and mix them up and throw it out and see. And if you don't like it, okay, I'll make my own. They're both a part of you, aren't they? Your thoughts are you, your feelings are you. They're simply different perspectives coming from the same source.
Yeah.
And I would not expect them to be the same, but it's a fascinating exercise. What do I think? How do I feel? And be prepared to be quite amazed. And it's actually, thank you for sharing that. So I feel that's a powerful and can be quite a fun exercise to do.
Yes, indeed.
What do I think I should wear to work today? And what do I feel like wearing to work today? And to be ballsy enough to go with the feel and see what happens. Just something as simple as that. Oh, Miss Wendy, it's been so beautiful. You're thousands of kilometers, above me up in Malaysia, but this wonderful technology, dare I say, this world of energy that allows us to connect through the World Wide Web.
Indeed.
And have this conversation. Thank you, my love. It's been such a delight. And for those listening, I will get Wendy's contact details and pop them in the show notes. And as I love to say, to sign off, until we meet again. May your day be full of the magic that is you, wherever you may be. Everything in this world is energy, and that includes you. Remember, you are the most important person in your world, and you came into this life with all the tools you will ever need to support your healing from within. Let the healing begin.